Welcome to the Schwarz Standard Station with your host, Bob Schwarz. Sitting in the passenger seat today is Charlotte French.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I wanted to bring to your attention today something that I've been thinking about a lot lately, and that is that you are a man of many quotes. As we've been meeting, I've heard just one after another, and I actually wrote one down, and I wanted you to expand on it for me a little bit today. So, just a second. I wanted to read it perfectly. So, I am an old man and have known a great many troubles, but most of them never happened. And that's Bob Schwarz original. No one else has ever said that.
No, not at all. Well, and you know what I found out, because I went and researched it when you asked that question. I am not a man of many quotes. I am a man who writes down quotes that I like. And I went back when you asked me this question and looked at Google, which knows everything. And that saying has been equated clear back to Thomas Jefferson in one way or another.
Oh, wow.
So, and what I feel he's referring to, and everybody's perception of literature is their own. But to me, it is, I have spent so much of my life worrying about, are my kids going to be okay? Can I send my kids, with so-and-so? What's going to happen if the market falls? Are we going to get, I'll go back to when I was a little kid, are we going to get the atom bomb? And we've all known a great many terrible things that could happen, but most of them did not happen. Let me bring that to the stock market. The phone calls we get once every 4 years when there's a presidential election. The phone calls we get when Brexit happened, when gold prices went up to 1,400, when gold prices plunged to 700. The calamities of life that occur and come up on our radar screen, you gotta not listen to the noise, Charlotte. Sometimes, most of the time, my opinion, all the time in the stock market, you pay no attention to the noise and you look at what is my ultimate goal. And my ultimate goal is not what the market's going to do in the next week or the next year. It's what is it going to do the next 30 years. And I say that, and you're going, well, wait a minute, Bob, I'm 70 like you are. Why do I want to think about 30 years? Because we might be here that long. And the ones younger than us need to think about that because they are going to be, and for much longer. Charlotte, your baby's 5 years old, right?
Yeah.
I happen to know this because I know this from when my granddaughter was born, who was the same age. Average life expectancy for somebody born that year is 100. Average life expectancy. The chances of your daughter making it to 100 are better, are even. I think that's phenomenal. Also, she's going to have a lot to worry about. She's going to have a lot of stuff she can worry about. Most of it's not going to happen. And again, so that's where I came up with. That's why I wrote down that. That's why you heard me say that, is because we all can find stuff and reasons to get out of the stock market. Most of them never happen.
So what do you find is the main reason that people pull their money out or change what they're doing?
Fear. Always fear. If a lion walked into this room, you and I can flee, and all you've got to be is faster than me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's all you got to do is beat me out of the room, and I'm going to be the one that gets a...
Just so you know, I'm throwing a chair down.
Right. And I not only have to be faster than you, I have to be able to hurdle. But if we're approached by an animal that's going to attack us, we have two things that we can do. We can flee or we can fight. Right? Oh, that's it. We can either stand our ground and say, you're going down, or I'm going down, or you can say, I'm out of here. Well, with the market, it's much the same way, but there's a third choice you have to make. So you can fight it, and that is, well, I want to get out and get right back in. I want to get out and get right back in. That does not work. Secondly is I want to get out forever. And that happens. In '08, we had, it's called recapitulation. And what that means is if somebody calls up and says, I'm done, get me out of the market. That happened twice in '08. It happened once right before the last presidential election. And when I get the phone call to put them back in to the market, because what I tell anybody that recapitulates when they get out is, you call me when you're ready to get back in. And they never call back, but when they do, if they do call back and say, I'm ready to get in the market, I tell them, no, we're not getting in the market again. You ran from it once, you'll run from it twice. And quite honestly, anybody that I've ever had get out lost. They got hurt. Mm-hmm. They got out when it was down, and then they missed all the rise back up. Don't call us. Don't come see us. I am not here to educate you on getting in and out of the market. Does not work. And if what we're trying to do here is help educate people, that is the key thing going forward and planning for your future, is staying engaged in the market in whatever way you find comfortable.
So when you're talking about getting out and getting back in, is that kind of what people were trying to do with that whole GameStop thing? Yeah. That's what they were trying to do in the first place, and then they got caught.
Yeah.
It's
market timing, and market timing doesn't work. I had a dear friend who allowed me to manage his money, but he had some fun money, and he was phenomenal. This was back in the days when you had to phone call in stock orders. You couldn't do it on a computer. And he would buy stuff and sell it. I mean, he was immaculate. And one of the traders that back then, before I did my own trading, that I would talk to would go, we just need to do whatever that guy does, because he's phenomenal. I've never seen anybody that knew when to get out, when to get back in, when to get back out. And he was perfect at it until...
First off, everyone wants to be that guy.
Yeah. Oh, he was perfect at it. And we ought to have him on the show, because he will tell you what happened when he made his first mistake.
Okay.
He lost it all.
Oh my gosh.
He was wrong once because a company called AIG went broke. And he thought it was going to go up. And so he bought into it after it dropped, and it didn't work. He was trying to time the market. It doesn't. You only get one chance to be wrong, and when you're wrong, it's like, oh, I'm out. The way to make money is to stay in the market, stay engaged over long periods of time, having the amount of money that you have in the market be an acceptable amount to your risk tolerance. So if you have no risk tolerance, you don't want to be in the market. If you are extremely aggressive and you want to have your invested asset, that would be Bob Schwarz. I'm very aggressive. I have very little in fixed, and I'm in equity markets. Anywhere in between, you need to know what your comfort is, and that's that's one of the things that we work with. And any good financial advisor is going to understand what your risk tolerance is.
Well, that's good to know.
Before we get back to the conversation, there's something you should know about Bob. Bob likes to go fast. When he picks a destination, he chooses the fast lane for his trips and financial success. Bob is gaining on 45 years of experience, and he wants you to join him on this high-speed journey to success. Through these conversations, Bob wants you to learn to minimize speed bumps, not get pulled over or break down. And because you're making good time, you can start to enjoy the scenic routes. If you'd like to get a tune-up or fill up on the future, visit our website at bobschwartzfinancial.com.
Okay, well, so instead of planning for the worst, I need to be planning for my future. Is life insurance something that I need to be looking into?
In setting up your game plan, My older brother used to say this. When you see a life insurance salesman, he's going to talk to you about dying. And when you see a stockbroker, he's going to talk to you about living. Much easier to talk to people about dying because none of us are going to die.
Yeah.
The great majority of us are going to make it to retirement. So first of all, the most of our assets that we are designating, Charlotte, to our retirement and to life insurance should go to the investment side of the platform, the retirement side. Most money should go there. Well, so how do I take care of insurance? Well, quite honestly, it took me a long time to learn to say this because I started out in the life insurance industry. Term insurance. If I have a 3-year-old child and I have very little insurance or $50,000 worth of insurance at work, I need to go out and buy $500,000 or $1 million worth of 30-year term so I know that I can protect that child and any future children and until they are raised, and that's going to cost me not very much, maybe $30 a month. That's how you take care of your future. No, none of us are going to build retirement income in a whole life insurance policy, period. And I'm sorry, but it doesn't work that way. Now, some people can say, well, if I keep putting, I had a client just do this week. Bob, I've had a life insurance policy I've had for 30 years. It's got $36,000 in it. It's got an $85,000 death benefit. Guy's 65. Shouldn't I keep that? Because, and it cost him $500 a year to keep the insurance. And he said, shouldn't I keep that insurance because someday it's going to pay $86,000 and that's going to be a profit over the $36,000 that cash value is. It was $500 twice a year. And I said, how many years have you had this policy? And he said, oh, I've had it since I was 20, 21, 40 plus years. So, he's put in over $40,000 and it's worth $36,000. So first of all, he didn't make any money. Second of all, he's going to keep putting in until he passes away 20 or 25 years from now. He's going to keep putting money in. My comment to him was, what would happen if you took that money out and you invested it? It could very easily be worth more than $80,000 when your death occurs, couldn't it? And he goes, I never thought about it that way. And I said, yeah, and you could save $1,000 a year in premium. Life insurance is very important. Cover debt for ag producers. Ag producers generally have some debt involved in their operations. Life insurance is very, very important. But only in estate planning purposes does it need to be some type of permanent insurance that pays out.
Okay.
So I'm a fan of life insurance too, Charlotte.
So what about, and I think as we go on, I'm going to ask a lot of questions about this because I don't know if we mentioned this before. I'm from Rossville, Kansas. I live and work, I work in Silver Lake now at Farming Unlimited, but historically live and work in Topeka. My parents still live in Rossville. Someday I may move back to Rossville. And, we have farm ground in the family. So I'm always thinking a lot about what are the people in agriculture doing? I mean, I have an ag-centric job. I have an ag-centric life.
Don't we all?
Yeah, what are we doing?
Kansas. Really, if you're a physician in Kansas, you have an ag-centric job.
Yeah.
None of us would be here if it wasn't for ag.
Absolutely. So what are the people in ag doing for their retirement, I guess is what I'm really curious about. And what are they doing for life insurance? Because is it different? Do they have to plan differently?
I kind of consider my business a farm because I am like a farmer in many senses, Charlotte. I'm going to farm until I'm going to run my business until I can't anymore. Do I have a succession plan? Yes, we have people in place that are going to replace me because I'm replaceable, but second of all, I'm not going to be able to work and I'm not going to always be here. So I'm a lot like a farmer in that sense. So what we see a lot of farmers doing is not retiring. First of all, they retire the same day that we get the phone call from their son or their daughter or their wife saying, we're taking Dad to get some long-term care. The second thing that we see is farmers renting out their ground and leasing it out to a child or to one of their neighbors and getting income off of that for retirement. Farmers are historically poor at putting money into retirement. And what they will tell you is, I have spent my money putting it into my business and growing my business, buying farm ground, buying equipment. And they're absolutely correct. I did that same thing, basically, early in my career. But I also then learned how to put money away, a small amount, and then build, to build retirement income. And that's what we try to help ag producers do. And we have a lot of new clients, Charlotte, that are 70 years old, like me. Some even older than me, that are starting on that track of building more income for their retirement years because they're still working. And that's neat. That's great. But most farmers my age, and most farmers are my age, are one of the first things I'll say, you're never going to retire, are you? And the farmer will say to me, right, I'm going to farm as long as I can. And I get that. That's what Bob's going to do too. We don't see traditional retirement as our parents did it is basically gone. But most ag producers, that's what their parents did, was they worked as long as they could.
So let's say that I am a farmer and I am getting my retirement from renting my property out. So I've been renting my property. Maybe I'm doing like a 1/3 and 2/3 or I don't know, some other way that people sharecrop, some other way that people are doing their agricultural rental agreements with their tenants. That is my retirement. Something happens and I need long-term care, or I need to go into rehab or something. Like, say I have a stroke. My mom had to go into rehab a couple years ago, and it was a big deal. So what if my costs that I've been getting from my tenants, what if my rent isn't covering that? How are people paying for that? What do they do?
Hello, yeah.
That's a really poorly asked question.
No,
I'm sorry,
that's a perfectly asked question. The hello moment, the hello, oh no, something happened to mom. Mom is getting care, and the income off the farm ground and Social Security is not enough to care for mom. Are we going to have to sell an 80? Are we going to have to start selling ground? What's going to happen? And that's why you need a fiduciary advisor to help you with that, to help you if you need to put your ground into an irrevocable trust so that Medicaid cannot attach to that ground. Those are all things, and that's in a nutshell what we do. But if you don't plan, those are the exact things that happen. And what seemed like plenty of income, all of a sudden is your net worth is all in your ground, and you're selling ground to try and what happens when you sell ground? You're selling income.
Right.
And we're just seeing such a change in the farm environment today. When I was a kid, my mom used to drive around. No, she didn't drive around. We had a tank wagon, Schwarz standard. And my mom drove the tank wagon on occasions, believe it or not. We'd be driving around the countryside and she'd say, I grew up 2 miles west of here, and I'd think, yeah, Mom, you've told me that a million times. And she'd say there was a farm on every 80. And that's why the little school she went to, had 40 kids at it when it covered 2 square miles of, there was another school 2 square miles away. And she goes, gosh, that's all changed now. There's a home on every section. It's not an 80 anymore. Well, today, there isn't a home on every section. Farmers farm more ground. We see, big farmers have gotten bigger. Little farmers have either gotten bigger or they've gotten out. We're going to continue to see that trend. Farming used to be an avocation. It was, today it's big business. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got $2 million. And I'm not exaggerating here. It is not unusual to see ag producers with $2 million worth of equipment. It's not unusual at all. And it's not unusual to see someone with a huge amount owed in ground, in interest they're paying to buy ground, but still having a net worth in excess of 7 to 10 million because the other ground that they own is so valuable. So these are all plans that we have to put in place to avoid taxes, avoid long-term care situations, and how do we build up enough assets to take care of those things. And when you're operating a business, it makes it a little easier to understand, okay, we need to allocate dollars towards long-term care, or we need to allocate dollars towards our retirement. I'll tell you another one that you could have asked and where I thought you were going, Charlotte, was what happens if mom and dad want to rent the ground out and they're renting it out to a child, to you, or another sibling, and it's a terrible, and they're doing cash rent, and it's a terrible year, and it would strap their child to have to come up with that payment. What are mom and dad going to do?
Right, they're probably going to look the other way and have you pay it back on a good year or something like that.
Right,
yeah.
And it's not going to make anybody happy, is it?
No.
It's not going to make the child farming happy. It's not going to make the parent happy. We want to help you. We want to help avoid those pitfalls. We don't want to change. I think the key thing that everybody that we talk to realizes after we visit is we don't want to change anything. We want to help you improve on what you have. We're not going to come in and say, hey, sell some ground. Not at all. We want you to continue to do what you do and continue to enjoy it, but we want you to be as estate efficient, tax efficient, and as an investment efficient as you can possibly be going forward. And that is not going down to the bank and buying a 0.5% CD. It's not going to work. And so consequently, that's why you want some professionals to work with you that will take care of those things.
So it sounds like it sounds like there's a lot of consistent answers that you'll probably give us on that whole deal. And I'm wondering if there's a magic formula, and is there a magic formula for succession planning?
No.
Okay.
Everybody's different. Here's why I can stay engaged in what I do. It's not my industry is not Groundhog Day. Okay. Every day is a new day. Everybody's different. Every situation's different, and that is what I love. We are looking at some tax changes, and you're all just starting to hear this where they want to take away the stepped-up basis. You know what a stepped-up basis is?
I don't. I've never heard of that.
Okay, if I bought farm ground for $250 an acre, and today it's worth $1,000 an acre, if I sell that, that's a $750 gain per acre, and I have to pay taxes on it. If, however, I hold on to that ground until I pass away, mm-hmm. and my wife passes away, our children inherit that with a stepped-up basis, meaning it goes up to $1,000 an acre is what their basis is. So if they sold it, there would not be any tax due. There's legislation that they want to pass that takes away that stepped-up basis, and that will be a game changer in ag. I mean, it will be devastating to succession planning. Now, does that mean there won't be any way to do it? Believe me, we're already working on that. We are already looking at how are we going to do that? Are we going to incorporate? We're going to sell shares in the farm, inside shares, inside stock sale to members of the family. We're going to figure it out. Believe me, there's some smart people that are going to figure that out. But all those things. It's why it's a new day every day. The government changes tax laws. We want to be in a position to help you improve on what you've already done. Not take away, not change, not make you retire. That's the last thing I want to do. We want to talk to you, Charlotte, and in succession planning, you hit on another very hot topic for farm families. Is how do you plan to pass that farm, especially if there's a child in the industry with you? How do you do that? How do you do that and make it where that child can still farm? Becomes very important.
Do you have a favorite small town fact or questions for us regarding this episode? Reach out by emailing Bob or call one of our Kansas offices in Silver Lake or Victoria. Visit our website at bobschwartzfinancial.com.